Hi guys, this is Mrs. Fleming again. We're going to be talking about math today. We've got lots of different activities to do today because we're actually combining two different lessons. And so we're going to be looking at 8.5 and 8.3. And so I'm going to go ahead and jump right on in. And so 8.3 is where we really learn about what factors are, and 8.5 is where you get to practice on your understanding of factors by playing a game. And so today we're really focusing on identifying factors of a product. This is going to help us with our understanding of our multiplication division fluency. This is going to help us get that fact power that we've been trying to get all year, right? Without having to work it out. We don't want to have to draw an array or equal groups. Now, those are fine to do if we don't know, but again, our goal is for us to not have to do those extra steps. So we've talked about factors. Beginning of the year, we talked kind of about missing factors, okay, where we're trying to figure out what is that missing number. And a factor is the numbers that you can multiply together to get another number. So for example, 2 and 3 are the factors of 6 because 2 times 3 equals 6. So the 2 and the 3 in this problem are the factors. 6 is that product. Right? And if you look at it as a division problem, right, you take that product and it becomes here, and it's called a different number. We're not going to talk about that yet. We're not ready for that. But 6 is still the factor, and we're trying to figure out that other factor, which we would call a quotient here as the answer. But we're just going to think of it as the factor. And there are different factor pairs. If you're looking at the target number of 36, right, there's all of these numbers that are factors of 36 because you can take 6 times 6 equals 36. 4 times 9 equals 36. 3 times 12 equals 36. 2 times 18 equals 36. 1 times 36 equals 36. Okay, so since all these can be multiplied with a pair, that makes it a factor of that product. And if we were doing this together live, this would have been your math message, where it would have said list at least 5 products that have 4 as one of the factors. So we would have 4 here, and we could easily say, well, what if we just go in order? 4 times 1, 4 times 2, 4 times 3, 4 times 4, and 4 times 5. Well, when you multiply those together, 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 5 is 20. Right? So these are the products, and these are the factors that we multiply together to get the product. Okay? And so that's kind of, we're going to be looking at both what is the factor and what is the product today. And so one way that we can use to help us, a strategy that I can use to help me, is I can think about the basic facts. And again, we want to be able to know these, but if you don't know them, you're going to be able to use a multiplication facts chart. And again, you select one number, like 3, you find that number as many times as possible. Oh, if you see like 24, 24, 24, you find the product, and then you can find the factors to go with it. So 24 is 8 and 3. 24 is also 6 and 4. 24 is 4 and 6, and 24 is 3 and 8. So you can see that they're flip-flop. 3 and 8 is the same as 8 and 3. They're both factors. So here the factors for 24 are 3, 4, 6, and 8. Okay? That's one strategy you can use. If we have extended facts, you can use the basic fact that we just talked about, like a multiplication fact chart, and then you can add to it, like if you had to add a 0, like what we learned in our last lesson. Okay. You can also use, for basic facts or extended facts, you can use a fact triangle and think of just what's one factor pair. Instead of trying to think of here where we looked at all the different products and all the different factors of it, maybe you're just going to think of your fact triangle where you're just trying to find the one pair. And again, that can be used for your basic fact, like 2 times 6 is 12, or you can bump it up and do like 2 times 60 equals 120. Okay, you're going to be able to use all of these resources today. I've also right here written them down for you for 1 through 20, just to make it a little bit easier for you to use. These are going to be found on our math page here. This is, if you click here, it's going to take you to this slides, and it has all of these resources here for you. So you can look here to find the different factor pairs. You can also see here is your multiplication division fact table, or you can find this here. If you also want to go to your e-toolkit, okay, if you go to over here to our tools, and you type in, or if you click on where it says multiplication, division, fact table, you can find that here. And for example, if I wanted to figure out what's 25, oh, if I find 5 and 5, what about 49 or 36? Right, it's going to be 4 and 9. So I can see the product and then I can see the factors. So if that's a little bit easier for you, you can find that here on our e-toolkit on Everyday Math. So that's another resource for you. Okay. So I need to be able to find what are different fact pairs. So it says fill in the blanks with the different factor pairs that make the number sentence true. So I see here 4 and 4. So I need to find 2 factor pairs that equal 4. Well, I know for every number, 1 times itself is going to be a factor pair. So 1 times 4 equals 4. But I also know that for 4, 2 times 2 equals 4. And I can even check that if I want by going to one of my resources and finding 4. Oh, 1 times 4 and 2 times 2. Yep, that works. All right, let's try 16. Okay, I can do, again, always 1 times the number, 1 times 16. But I also know some others here. I know that 2 times 8. 16 is an even number, so I know it's times 2. And I know from my fact power that 2 times 8 is 16. But you know, there's even a third. 4 times 4 equals 16. Now, this only asks me to do 2, so maybe instead of me writing 1 times 16, since that's always going to be a given, maybe I would want to put the 4 times 4 here instead and try to switch it up. Okay, again, I can always go back and check and find 16 right here. 1 times 16, 2 times 8, and 4 times 4. And those all matched up. Now, in order to help us practice this, you could just, of course, look at here, right, and just copy. But that's not really going to help us. So we want to be able to practice. So there's a game that we are going to play, which is Factor Bingo, which is just like normal bingo. But here, you're going to pull a card, and that's going to be the factor, and you're going to try to find a product that has that card, that number, as one of the factors. Okay, so I'm going to show you this online version first. Here's an example. Okay, here's a game board that's been brought up. Here's the card that was played, 6, right? Well, you have to think, well, I could just choose 6. 6 times 1 is 6, okay? Or I could find something else that goes on here. So, for example, I know that I need to get a marker here. I'm going to get a little circle that I can play. I could put 6 times 8 is 48, and so I could put my circle here, and maybe I would try to make a line here. If you were playing this on the actual Everyday Math games, I have that pulled up here, my card that was pulled was 7, so I need to find one of these products over here that would have 7 as a factor. Well, I could choose 7. Maybe that would help me in my row, but ooh, look, maybe I'll pull 7 again, but I don't know if I'm going to find something that's going to be 49. So I can click 49. I like that, so I'm going to click OK. So then it's going to be 10 points. That's awesome. Okay, so now I need to click this button again. It's going to give me a new factor to try. I see 2. All right, again, I can choose 4. 4 doesn't have that many. Oh, 2. 2 definitely is not going to have any. It's only 1 and 2. So I think maybe I'll try to go in a row here for 2. Okay, so I think I'm going to click that one. Again, this is bingo, so you can try it different ways. It would have been completely fine for me to do 4. It might have been better for me to do 28 or 60, okay, because I know 2 would have been fine for that as well. So just practice. Again, it's more about figuring out the factors than trying to get the bingo here. So this is on challenge. If you're going to do the online version, it's challenge, and then bingo, and then factor bingo on Everyday Math games. Okay, and you get to even choose if you like the game board or not. Now, if you want to try this on your own and make your own game board, this is what it said in the packet to do. This is something you can play with your family. So it gives you all the numbers 2 through 90 that you could possibly do, and you would get to make your own grid here. And you can then play with a crown and crossing them off as you do, or you can play with whatever you want to put down, beans or rice or something to show that if you've picked that as your space. And you could play multiple times with your family. Now, since it gives you all these number choices, you would want to make sure that you're picking good numbers to go on here. So if we were in class, this would have actually been your power right. So we're just going to think about it right now. So if I had the choice between 7 and 18 to put on my game board, which one would probably be the better choice to put on my game board? Well, 7 only has one factor pair, but 18 has 3 different factor pairs. So this would have, I might be able to choose 18 more times based on the cards that were pulled, because if 3, 6, 2, 9, 1, or 18 were pulled in the cards, I could be able to pick 18, but I could only pick 7 on my game board if a 1 or if a 7 was pulled. Okay, so that's not going to be maybe the best choice. I think I would rather pick 18. So that's, again, another choice that you could do. You can play online, or you can choose to play in your student math journal. When you're done with that, I want you to just show me again what are some of the factors of the products that you have learned. And again, try this time on the UDO to do this without having to look at the resources. Again, if you need to, it's fine, but I would really challenge you to really practice that fact power. And so continuing on filling this in. If you want to, you can even try this story problem where it asks you to think of the factor pairs to help you solve it. And there's even an extension at the bottom where it gives you those extended facts like we talked about at the beginning of the lesson. For even added bonus, you can practice this on IXL. There are multiplication facts up to 10, selecting the missing factors. So again, you have to really understand those fact families to help you with this. This is another way to get used to practicing and understanding what factors are. Again, once you're done with your UDO, I want you to kind of explain on Flipgrid, how do you know your answers for number 1 and number 2 are correct here. You can also explain a little bit about how playing Factor Bingo or doing Excel was helpful to you today. All right, this is a kind of a difficult skill, and we're combining a lot today. And so if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm definitely here to help, and we can look over this together in our Google Meets. Good luck, guys. Let me know if you have any questions.